Right, so we're in the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. In the second module, the ninth chapter is entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge. Let's look at a little overview of what we've done so far. Okay, we haven't done this before, so let's look at this. There is similarity between chapter number 3 and 5 and 7 and 9. How is it? Just as Krishna described Karma Yoga in chapter 3 and later elaborated it deeply in chapter 5, Krishna describes Bhakti Yoga in chapter 7 and then elaborates on it in chapter 9. And this is the flow of the concepts discussed in both chapters 7 and 9. They are similar. So let's look at that. 7.1 and 2 and 9.1 and 2. Hearing about Krishna. So he also spoke about that in 7.1 and 2, but then more deeply in 9.1 and 2, like that. 7.4 to 7 and then 12 and then 9.4 to 10, Krishna's energies and his relationship with the material world. Then Krishna's all pervasiveness within this world, then demigod worship versus Krishna worship, and then impersonalists versus devotees in understanding Krishna. And this is the section that we'll take today, 9.11 onwards. And this is the link between between the last chapter and this chapter. The Lord mentioned that a pure devotee solely fixed on performing Ananya Bhakti unto him surpasses the paths of light and darkness. In this chapter, Krishna explains how to become such a pure devotee or Ananya Bhakta. And that's why it's called the most confidential knowledge. And what is the confidentiality, right? Remember we did Guya, Guyatara, Guyatamam. So Guya is the knowledge of the matter and spirit, which is Krishna describes from chapter 2 to 6, mainly in chapter 2. Then 7 and 8, Krishna describes about Guya Tara, which is Bhakti Yoga. And then from 9 onwards, especially ninth chapter, Kevala Bhakti, most confidential knowledge, Guyatama, describes the majestic aspect of Krishna, Aishwarya, and excellence of a pure devotee. The Gita is considered the essence of all scriptures, and the essence of the Gita is in the middle 6 chapters, right? Those are the Bhakti Yoga verses. And then, chapters. And then in between those chapters, from 7 to 13, in between the 9th and the 10th, they appear exactly in the center of the Gita, and they are the further essence of these 6 chapters. All right, overview of this chapter. Krishna's glories. Krishna glorifies the knowledge he is about to reveal, Aishwarya Gyan, Krishna's relationship with this world, which we did in our last class. Those who understand Krishna in various ways, which we'll do today, we'll start to do today. Kevala Bhakti is far superior to demigod worship, and then glories of Krishna Bhakti. All right, so in the 9th chapter, this is where we are. We'll look at the verses and maybe their translations. Let's look at this. 9.1, knowledge of bhakti and realization of Krishna by non-envious. So Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of all miseries and material existence. So because you're non-envious, I'm imparting this knowledge to you. And then second verse, 8 characteristics of knowledge of this pure bhakti. And we remember this, right? Rajavidya, Rajaguyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Pratyakshaavagamam, Dharmyam, Susukham, Kartum, Avyayam. So this is Rajavidya, the knowledge of the kings, or it can also mean it is the king of all knowledge. Then Rajaguyam, it's the king of all secrets. It is the purest of all. It's transcendental to darkness or ignorance of this world. It gives direct experience of the self by realization. Pratyaksha and then Dharmyam, which is perfection of religion. It is easily and joyfully performed, Susukham Kartum, and then Avyayam, it's everlasting, eternal, indestructible. Third verse, Krishna says, those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me. So this, he speaks about the faithless. Ashraddha, faithlessness, which leads to two things. Aprapyamam, which means I've left a blank over there because it's a review. Let's see if anybody can answer this. Aprapyamam. Easy to understand. Prapya is to attain. Aprapya.
Does not achieve.
So yeah, the faithless do not attain me, and nivartante.
Achieve.
Achieve? He's talking about the faithless.
Retire.
Or they come back.
Come back.
Yes, they
Not achieve.
come back to this material world. So this is what Krishna spoke about, right? Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me. One, they cannot attain me, and they return to this birth and death cycle, to the material world. So aprapyamam and nivartante. Next, fourth verse, Krishna says, okay, this is the verse we're trying to memorize also, so let's recite it one more time. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina vatsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshvasas avastitaha. Krishna says, by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them. And we took the example of a king, how he pervades his kingdom through the influence he has, like through his ministers or through his energies. Just as a king is present in all departments by his energies, Krishna is all pervading by his energies. Yet Krishna is not in everything. So Krishna says, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. And then the Lord gives an example to illustrate how everything rests upon him. Who remembers what example was that? Of the wind, right? Understand as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. This was 9.6. 9.7, periodic creation and destruction of material world. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, every material manifestation enters into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I again create. And here's another kind of question to you. 4 kinds of pralaya that we did in our last class. And I have put pictures and we just have to mark. So as we keep going, which one is Prakritika pralaya from all of these? So they are in like the first one goes together where there's Garbhodaksha Vishnu and you see destruction happening. Those are together. So that's one. And then next line is the leaf, right? And then the next line where Prabhupada and you see Golok Vrindavan. And then the next one we see Mahavishnu and again destruction happening. So these are the 4 in one line. Which one out of these 4 is Prakritika Pralaya? All right, so that was the end of Lord Brahma's age, which is 100 years. And this is when everything is destroyed. Everything goes back in Mahavishnu. That's Prakritika Pralaya. Next is Naimittika Pralaya.
The leaf, Mataji. No.
How your picture, this is Prakritik Pralaya, okay? Naimittika Pralaya.
First,
One. Yeah. So after the end of Brahma's day, and when the night comes, then there is this one, Naimittika Pralaya. So Prakritika Pralaya at the end of Brahma's age, 100 years. Naimittika Pralaya after Brahma's one day. When the night comes, then there is destruction.
The leaf is Nitya
I
Pralaya.
gave you the answer. Nitya Pralaya.
Yeah.
Every instant when there is, right, pralaya, destruction happening, and every moment. Atyantika pralaya, there's the only one left when the ego is also destroyed. So destruction of ego, Atyantika pralaya, when the jiva goes back to the spiritual world. All right. And then 9.8, Krishna says, the whole cosmic order is under me, under my will. It is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end. All this cannot bind Krishna, he says, O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. And we took example of how a king, when he comes inside a prison house, he's not the one who's affected by the rules and regulations. He's detached. Or when he gives, his orders, he is detached. And then the 10th one, Krishna is the supreme director. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings by its rule. This manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. All right, so now we come to today's class, and we'll start from 9.11. So there are different types of worshippers of Lord Krishna, and that's what he's going to describe from now, from the 11th verse onwards. And first, he talks about the fools who consider Krishna as an ordinary human. From 9.13 to 9.14, Krishna speaks about the Mahatmas or Ananya Bhaktas who worship Krishna constantly with devotion. And then after that, he talks about the ones in between. So he has fools who deride Krishna, and there are Ananya Bhaktas who are focused in Krishna consciousness. But there are some who are in between, and those are the ones Krishna describes from 9.15 onwards. So though Krishna is the source of all three of the three Purushas who create and maintain this material world, still, when Krishna descends as the son of Vasudev and Devaki into this world, some people misunderstand him to be ordinary human beings or just an amsha of the Purusha avatars. So they don't consider when Krishna comes, he came 5,000 years ago. Some people don't consider him the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some people say, he is just another human being who had some powers like that. Some people think he is just Amsha of the Purusha avatars. So let's see what Krishna says. Fools or impersonalists consider Krishna as an ordinary human. Avajananti mamudha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Have somebody unmute and read the translation, please.
Deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, so let's look at the verse line by line. 9.11 Avajananti mamudha. The foolish people cannot understand me. Avajananti. Look at Avajananti in little more detail. Next slide. Manushim is human form. Tanum ashrita. Tanum is the body that I take in the form of a manush. Ashrita, assuming that this is just a human body. Param bhavam ajananto. They do not know my transcendental nature. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram, that I am the Lord of all existence. So Maheshwara, sometimes also used for Lord Shiva, right? You must have heard Mahesh. But actually it's a generic name Isha means controller, and Mahesha is the supreme, the great controller, who can be Krishna, who is Krishna only. So Maheshwaram is for Krishna. So let's look at Avajananti. Krishna has used this word in this verse. Jananti, we all know. It means to know or to have the knowledge. When there is knowledge, we know Krishna properly, then that leads to liberation. And that Krishna spoke in 4.9. Who remembers the verse 4.9? A quiz coming here also. No one?
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम्
Divyam evam yo veti tattvataha त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्मा naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So 4.9, Krishna also spoke about people who know my nature, right? My birth and my nature, transcendental nature, they also get liberated. So that is Jananti. Ajananti is to not know, or ignorance, which is opposite of Jananti. And Avajananti is to know the opposite of what is right, or to misunderstand. There are conceptual barriers more dangerous than Ajananti because of misunderstanding, one commits offenses that lead to suffering. So here you see pictures. Jananti is a Mahatma who knows, and then Ajananti, like the hippies who did not know, but that is less dangerous. They can be brought in the level of knowing. They can be given the knowledge. But Avajananti are the ones who think they know. Right, long back when I was in, I think, eighth or ninth grade, a math teacher, no, I think seventh grade, a math teacher used to come home to teach me. And so after the exams, everything, he just came. Every time he used to come, my parents used to, have some tea and cookies for him. He used to sit and eat and, teach me also simultaneous what going on. And then after my exams ended, he came again to visit. And I didn't want to talk to him. Like everything is done. Why has he come now? So in the same room, in the corner, there was my bed. And the same room had a study table also. So I was pretending that I'm sleeping with the chadar on me. And my mom was like, Anju, she's trying to wake me up. But because I'm pretending, I will not. If I'm sleeping, right? Genuinely speaking, somebody calls me, I will wake up. But if I'm pretending, then I will not wake up even if they're calling me. So this is Avajananti. People, when there is conceptual barriers, like you see in the picture,
You
Prabhupada,
are very smart, Mataji.
sorry?
You are very smart.
So I'm ignorant, Prabhu. So here you see in the picture where Prabhupada, before he came to the US, he was trying so hard, right? This is 1944, around that time. He's trying to distribute the Back to Godhead magazines in India. And people are not paying attention. They are like, yes, we know who Krishna is, like that. So that is the category of Avajananti. So here again, understanding or knowing about Krishna, Lord Krishna in truth leads to liberation. This is Jananti. Ignorance of the Lord Krishna continue in the cycle of birth and death, but they can be brought to the level of Jananti. And Avajananti is misunderstanding about Krishna, which leads to increased bondage and greater suffering. Then Krishna says, Param Bhavam Ajananto. What don't they know? They don't know about my Param Bhavam, transcendental nature, inconceivable power of Krishna, that he can be a person and that he is unlimited also. In the human form, when Krishna comes, he came 5,000 years ago, he looks like he's a human form, but his form is Sachidananda, right? He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That he can have a form that fits the lap of Mother Yashoda, can sit on her, but while he's sitting on her, when he opens his mouth, he can see the whole universe in it. Another way we can see this that he can have a form that Mother Yashoda can take a small bucket of water and pour on Krishna and his bath is done. And he can have a form that has pores on his body so gigantic that even if we pour all the water of all the oceans, there is empty space in one of the pores. This is Krishna's inconceivable potency. Okay, so how can the same Supreme Lord who comes in this world have all those potency in that human form? So example can be in our daily life, like just like a fondant. We all know what fondant is, right? Just like icing is soft, there's fondant which is sugary and it's hard. You can cover the whole cake with a fondant. So this is spread all over the cake, right? But the same fondant can be made into shapes or different figures, right? And it is the same fondant. So similarly, the absolute truth is diffused everywhere as the all-pervading Brahman, but that absolute is concentrated in a personal form, entirely transcendental, which is Satchidananda Vigraha. So here he is like this. He's diffused all over, but here he's concentrated. This is the example we took. Prabhupada says, if Krishna is Krishna present in the deity form? Let's have somebody read this.
Many impersonalists deride temple worship. Second, but if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Reference Golok Eva, Nivashati, Akhilatma Bhuta. Third, perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows this, although the personalists and impersonalists will fight with one another perpetually. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada, in the purport, if you read it, he has spoken about Ishvara Parama Krishna thrice in the purport.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Jananti Mamura, such fools deride the personal form of the Lord. They also deride the deity form of the Lord. So here you can read this is from the purport only. You can read the notes later. Let's keep going. All this is from the purport, all these notes. Right. So what is the destination of those who do not accept you, Krishna, as the Lord and think that you have a human material body? And Baladev Vidyabhushan says about this link, and have attained great power by great acts of punya. So this is what some people say. You might have seen this video. I think we watched that video earlier. The temple president of the Delhi ISKCON, who knows his name? I'm forgetting. So it was his video, and this person arguing with him, and he is, one of the Mayavad philosophy, and he says
Mohan
this.
Rup Prabhu.
Mohan Rupa
Mohan
Prabhuji.
Rup Prabhu.
Right. So somebody's arguing. He had a question about Krishna, and then he's arguing with Mohan Rupa Prabhuji, saying that maybe if we have time, we can watch that video in the end. So a Mayavadi who's talking about how Krishna, yes, he came, but he wasn't the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was a human with great powers. This is exactly what he said. And Mohan Rupa Prabhuji said, don't mind, but this is Mayavad philosophy. Wonderful argument back and forth. Okay. So fate of such fools, Krishna talks about in 9.12. Moghasha mogha karmano, mogha jnana vichetasaha, rakshasim asurim chaiva, prakritim mohinim shritaha. Let's have somebody read the translation.
Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In the deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, the fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Bhagavad Gita 9.2 translation. 9.12, sorry.
All right, so moghasha mogha karmanu. Mogha means waste. And here Krishna has used mogha thrice. Mogha asha, mogha karmanu, mogha jnana. So all these three are vichetasa. Vichetasa means they are defeated. Right? They're misdirected or they're bewildered in these three concepts. So mogha asha, their hopes are defeated. Mogha karmanu, their work, they're baffled in their fruitive activities, and mogha jnana, their jnana is also defeated. So these three. Let's talk about mogha for a minute. Krishna has used this earlier also. Who remembers? Let's go back to 3.16. Krishna says, Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayatitayaha aghayor indraya ramo mogham partha sa jivati. Krishna talks about those people who do not follow in this human form, human life, the cycle of sacrifice. Those people live in vain. So mogha is vain or waste. Correct? In vain. Or useless or failure. So such people who think of Krishna as, any human being, maybe with some powers, what happens to them? What is their destination? All these three things happen: moghasha, mogha karmano, mogha jnana. Asha, karmana, and jnana, all of these three things become mogha. They become a waste or a failure. Rakshasim, asurim chaiva. They are demoniac, atheistic, and prakritim, mohinim, shita. They are bewildered and they take shelter. Bewildered, such they are taking shelter of what? Let's look at this. Having taken shelter of Maya or illusory material energy. So Moghasha is baffled in their hopes of attaining the Lord's abode or Salokya Mukti. They are baffled because this is what they're thinking and they'll get, which they don't. Mogha Karmano, baffled in their fruitive activities and results of attaining heaven if they are karmis. So first one, Moghasha is for karmis also, right? Sorry, it is for jnanis. They're wanting to get liberated. And then second one, mogha karmano, it is for karmis, but they're baffled in their fruitive activities. Mogha jnana, again for jnanis, they do not attain the result of cultivating knowledge, which is liberation. Vichetasa, they're all bewildered, deluded by Maya. Their consciousness is misdirected, being directed away from me towards things of this world, and lost discriminating power by the sin of rejecting me. Rakshasim, Asurim Chaiva, they are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views, having taken shelter of illusory material energy. Prakritim, Mohinim, Shritaha. So they mock Krishna, therefore they are demoniac or atheistic. Their mental speculations bring them to the false conclusion that living entity and Krishna are one and the same. They think now our body is covered by material nature, and after liberation, no difference between them and God. Great offense to consider Krishna to be a human. And Krishna is quoting here from Brahmad Vishnu Smriti. One who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Shruti and Smriti. And if one by chance sees his face, one should at once take bath in the Ganges to rid himself of infection. So it's really very profound what is there in the Shastra itself, right? So let's look at how. Why does one need to, if one sees such a person who is so demoniac and atheistic, doesn't believe how Krishna, when he comes in a human form, he is the Supreme Lord. People who do not believe, it is said that if you look at such people, you should It is such an infection that you should go take bath in Ganga. And how? So we'll take example of somebody who's infected with some disease, right? He's isolated. Such as a person may look healthy from the outside, but the doctor knows about the internal deadly infection, which can be crippling and killing. And so he imposes what? Quarantine. Not because the person is hated, but because his disease should not spread to others. So, similarly, the impersonalists, especially the Mayavadis, are very seriously infected with the misconception that everything is one, and that kills bhakti. How does it kill bhakti? Because Bhagwan and Bhakta, they believe they are one, right? Ultimately, then there is no meaning of bhakti at all. Bhakti is choked and killed by this misconception, which is one of the greatest disaster for the soul. What will be the result of such thinking, considering Krishna to be human, is what Krishna has told in this verse. They are perplexed with Chetasa, taking shelter of dispositions of Prakriti or Maya. They are Rakshasim or they are Asuran. They are qualified to live in hell. Okay, this is from Baldev Vidyabhushan. They assume the nature, Prakritim of Rakshasas. This is by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then, who respects you then? This Krishna says in 9.13, and he talks about these devotees and calls them Mahatmas. Mahatmanastu mam prartha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Let's have somebody read the translation,
O
please.
son of Pratha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, so Mahatmanas tu mam partha. Krishna says, the great souls, Mahatmanas, tu is but, mam partha, O Pritha, unto me. Daivim Prakritim Ashrita, they take shelter of. Last verse, Krishna spoke about how these demoniac and atheistic people, Vichetasa, they take shelter of Prakritim, which is Maya. But here Krishna is contrasting and telling how they are taking shelter of Daivi Prakriti, Daivim Prakritim. We'll go into a little more detail about Daivim Prakritim. Ashrita, they take shelter. Bhajan te ananya manaso, they render service unto me without their mind going anywhere else. Ananya manaso, their mind is fixed. Gyatva bhutadim avyayam, because they understand Krishna is bhutadi, he's the beginning of all existence, and avyayam, he's imperishable, he's eternal, and he's inexhaustible. So let's look at the contrast between 9.11 and 9.13, exactly the opposite, right? Avajananti ma mudha, Krishna said there, and here he's calling these people Mahatmanas. And then there he said Param Bhavam Ajananto, and here he's saying that Param Bhava, they do not know. Here he's saying Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam, they know, they have the knowledge that I am Bhutadim and I'm Avyayam. Okay, so Ananya Manaso, without deviation of the mind, they don't think of any other reality other than Krishna, not of any demigods or impersonal or Brahman aspect. So only Krishna, and this is what they're totally fixed on. That we are Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. And Daivim Prakritim Ashrita, what is exactly our acharyas tell us? One is which Maya? Two Mayas, right? Who can tell us which are the two Mayas? Both are Krishna's energies.
Yogamaya and Mahamaya.
Yogamaya, Mahamaya. So one is Yogamaya and one is Mahamaya. So Mahamaya is the material. You can remember like this. Maha starts with M and this is material world. So Mahamaya taking care of material world, Yogamaya, which is the Daivim Prakritim, that nature which is intimately connected with Krishna. Devotees take shelter. Can anybody guess? Which is that intimate, also very close to Krishna?
Radharani.
Radharani. Yes, Radharani, intimately connected with Krishna. This is the Daivim Prakritim. So Srimati Radharani's special position. Let's have somebody read this. You can unmute.
Srimati Radharani.
Srimati Radharani's. Okay. Atal, carry on.
Please go, Mataji.
Srimati Radharani's special position. Srimati Radharani is the topmost devotee-shares person. Srimati Radharani is Bhakti personified, manifestation of Bhakti. Ultimately, Bhakti comes from Srimati Radharani. When Bhakti, Srimati Radharani, enters into the heart of living entity, that is when the soul becomes attracted to Lord Shri Krishna. Example, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then Srimati Radharani becomes pleased with us. Srimati Radharani, by her grace, as Bhakti Shakti, enters into our heart. Then we experience some devotion emotions, bhava. Srimati Radharani accepts our devotional service, extends her grace in our heart. Then we start experiencing bhava. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, very beautiful concept. If somebody asks you where is the mention of Radharani in Bhagavad Gita, here it is, given by our acharyas. This is Daivim Prakritim, which is the devotees taking shelter of Radharani. Okay, so let's hear from Prabhupada.
We are trying to be under the guidance of Radharani, Devi Prakriti. Prakriti means woman, and Devi, transcendental woman. And those who are materialists, they are under the Mahamaya, material energy. Goddess Kali, Durga, they are this symbolic representation of material energy. So those who are materialists, they take shelter of the material energy. And those who are transcendentalists, they take shelter of the transcendental nature. So those who are Mahatma, they take shelter of the transcendental Prakriti. So we have to render service to such person who is under the protection of the transcendental nature. We are.
And then we can experience infinite happiness. Bhajante Ananya Manaso, in a world of Mahatmana, or the great souls, they are fixed in their worship to Krishna. So this is Mahatma. In 9.13, Krishna speaks about the inner characteristics, the inner thoughts, inner conceptions. In 9.14, he'll talk about the outer action. So that's why Prabhupada called Bhakti, he gave the translation as devotional service. It's not just devotion, it's devotional service. So devotion is internal, service is external. He's already situated in, okay, we'll keep going. These are notes that you can read later. Okay, so the two verses now explain the devotional process. 9.14, let's recite it together. This is one of another verses that we'll try to memorize. Most of you might already have memorized it. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavritaha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So 9.13 was more of internal, 9.14 is more of external. So Kirtan is glorification of the Lord, which can be done in various ways. Krishna Katha is also Kirtan. Dancing and chanting is also Kirtan, and doing our japa is also a way of doing Kirtan. Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, always glorifying me. And this, I remember the third verse of the Shikshashtakam, where it comes, right? Who can recite the verse? Third verse of Shikshashtakam. Starts with Trinadapi.
Trinadapi sunechena
Sunechana
tarora
taroreva sashtana amanena manadena kirtaniya sadahari.
Kirtaniya Sadahari.
Guru Maharaj's favorite verse.
Yes, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. And how can one chant constantly? What is the qualification of chanting, or how can the chanting come constantly? Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna manina manadena kirtus. Two aspects which, yes, our Guru Maharaj always talks about, and which is shown in the uh, life, and how Prabhupada's disciples now are all of them. Guru Maharaj's god brothers, they are imbibing by this, right? Trinadapi Shunichena, they to be more humble than a blade of grass and to be more tolerant than a tree. Then only we can chant constantly. Then the chanting comes constantly. All right. So Dhrudavrita, Krishna says, with determination, and love is expressed through our determination only. That is, Prabhupada always used to say, if we're not determined, then we are just like animals. We've seen this story before, power of determination. Okay, namasyantascha, they offer obeisances, and cha, when Krishna says cha, it means all other forms of devotional services. In this way, Nitya Yukta Upasate, they are perpetually engaged in my worship. So 9.13, Bhajante Ananya Manaso, which is internal, the mind is not deviated. 9.14, Nitya Yukta Upasate, external, one is constantly engaged. One time when Prabhupada wasn't feeling well and they brought a doctor, he was checking Prabhupada and he said, the problem with you, Guruji, is that you pray too much. So it's like you all the time you're engaged in worshiping, doing this, and you don't exercise. This is what he wanted to say. So he said like this, you pray too much. And the disciples of Prabhupada standing right next to him were getting so upset. They wanted to answer back, but Prabhupada said, no, it's okay. Krishna through him is telling me something. So let's go for morning walks. And those morning walks, Krishna, Prabhupada constantly giving, class or having conversation, discussions, even, giving recordings. So the morning walks also became transcendental. So this is the mood of a Mahatma, externally always thinking and serving Krishna in various ways. So this is a Mahatma. Satatam kirtayantu mam nitya yukta upasate yatantascha dhrudavrata, determined, namasyantascha mam bhaktya, paying his obeisances and doing other devotional services. Right. So further symptoms of Mahatma, we all can read later. And we'll watch another video. Okay, here. Let's read this and then we'll watch the video. How can one become a Mahatma? Prabhupada says in the purport. Devotional Bhagavad Gita 9.2, devotional service is not only easy, but it can be performed in a happy way. Susukham kartum avyayam, right? No need for severe penance and austerity. One can live one's life in devotional service guided by an expert spiritual master in any position in the four ashramas. Anywhere in the world, he can perform devotional service and become a Mahatma. So I was thinking which video we can watch, which, kind of summarizes all of this. Wherever in the world, so we come for yatras to India from all over the world, right? And then when we go back, wherever we are, those thoughts are, we can reminisce in them and we can deepen our bhakti. All right. And then in the guidance of a spiritual master, right? Guided by a spiritual master, and then no need of severe penance and austerity, devotees can be can experience devotional service in a happy and loving way. So let's look at one of the yatras. This is a parikrama around Vrindavan. Within the Dhamma Maharaj. So we're watching how we can become Mahatmas.
Radharaman.
Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madan Mohan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Yamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Keshigata Vanshivata Dwadashakanan Nyasabalila Koilo Shri Nandanandan Shri Nanda Yashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Nenu Vatsagan Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirti Dasundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abir Nagari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavan Lamaj Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Bhatu Dvijaraj Jaya Rama Gata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavan Basi Jata Jan Jaya Jaya Dvijapatni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Teya Hara Pailo Govinda Charan Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Savamanoram Jaya Jaya Jvala Rasa Sabha Shri Janava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Shri Janava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan